Hello and welcome to Microsoft Hates Greg. My name is Greg Deckler, and today on Microsoft Hates Greg, we're going to be doing something a little different than I think we've ever done on this channel. We're going to be talking about, of all things, Power Query. Yes, Greg does know how to do Power Query, not just DAX. But first, I would be remiss if I didn't take just a brief few seconds to really thank everyone that has recently subscribed to my channel. April's been a huge month for me between being booted from the MVP program and then Chandip's Goodly video that he put out with an interview with me. I've gained like 250 subscribers to my to Microsoft Hates Greg, which is huge. It's almost a quarter of total subscribers. And I've gained like almost 350 subscribers on DAX for Humans, which is over half of that channel. So just want to thank everybody that's new and everyone that's been a long time subscriber. I really appreciate all of you. And yeah, we're going to do something a little different today. We're going to be taking a look at Power Query, and we're going to be doing it. It's about enter data queries. I'll explain in a minute. But as for our data, we're going to be using this idea that I've been promoting through my daily memes, matrix table grand totals with measures, basically a configuration option for users to allow them to sum the rows on matrix visuals and table visuals. As you can see, we're up to 1,261 votes. This thing started out at 27. We are actually up to in the top 40, and we have about maybe 100, 150 votes to go before we're in the top 30. So appreciate everybody that's voted for that. If you haven't, you can go out there and find that in the ideas forum. Ideas, you can go out to here, ideas.powerbi.com, page 4, and of the top ideas, and you'll be able to find it. Okay, so what I've done is I've actually gone and taken the URL for this, and there's a reason why we're doing this, but that's it's kind of a secret. Maybe somebody will figure it out. But we're going to take this URL. We just copied it and we put it into this enter data query. So if you're not familiar with enter data queries, of course you can just bring up an enter data query. You just paste it in. So we've just pasted that idea in right here. Okay. So now, if you look at the code behind this in the advanced editor, and it puts it all in one big line, but if you break it out so that it's got proper formatting, right? So you've got a table from rows, you got a JSON.document, you got a binary decompress, and a binary from text, and you have this, there's a bunch of crazy, text that's entered in there. Anyway, we're not going to go into all of this, but that's all I did was just enter data query in that. But the question comes, so binary encoding base 64 is how it's getting it out. Where does this come from, right? Like how exactly does Power BI do this? And can you reverse engineer it in Power Query? So that's what we're going to be taking a look at today. So this is the enter data query. So what we can do is we can modify that a little bit, and we can see what is this really encoding, okay? And what it really encodes, so what we do here, let me bring back advanced editor. So what we've done is we've basically taken the text that we had in the last query, we've wiped out the JSON.document and the table.toText. We've kept the binary.from text, the binary.decompress, compression.deflate, and instead we've wrapped this in a text.from binary statement, okay? Right there. So what's actually being encoded is this. We've got a square bracket, we've got a double quotes, we've got the actual URL itself, double quote, end square bracket, end square bracket. So that is actually what is being encoded, when we enter in the text, right? So it's going to take this and then actually encode it into this string. Okay, so now if we had extra columns, if we had like another column, we'd have a comma here and then another square bracket, whatever the data was for that, end square bracket. And so that's how it keeps track of if you have data in multiple rows or multiple columns and all of that sort of fun stuff. And then we'd have a comma, and then another row would start and all of that kind of fun stuff. But we're just going to work with a single URL today. Okay, so that is what it's really encoding. All right, so, but how does it get that? Well, turns out that we can actually recreate that code. So if you actually compare this I45W, capital W underscore Y, and you have capital FBS, L, capital A equals, right? That is actually what this is. Let's zoom in here. So the I45, capital WY, bunch of stuff. And then at the end, FBSLAA equals, which is what we have right here. All right, so what we're doing to get that, get back into Advanced Editor. Okay, so we just basically have to reverse the steps of how it's taking that stuff that it created, and then just do the reverse essentially. So we're going to do a text.to binary, and again, we've added the brackets and all of that sort of stuff. We have to have double quotes in here because we have a quoted string. So we do a text.binary of that. We do a binary.compress, and we do a, now this is a default, but I've added it in, and I don't know what the default is for here. But it doesn't seem to matter if I use true or false. Maybe it's because it's not big enough. I don't know. Binary encoding.base64, but again, that's the default for that function, so we don't really need these two optional arguments here. We do a binary.compress, and we do a compression.deflate, which is again the default for binary.compress. And then we just do a binary.toText. So we're basically turning this string into binary, we're compressing it, and then we're basically taking it back and saying, give me the text of that compressed binary string. And as you can see, we get back the answer. So that's really what's going on under the hood with enter data query is that, and so in theory, right, we could take this right here, this piece of code, and we could insert it into this right here, and we get back the same result. We'd just be taken, but it all would be more obvious, I guess you could say, within the query. Now, of course, it's nice that Power Query Editor does this for us, right? Because we get back usually a pretty simple, and a shorter string instead of all of the raw text and information that we've entered into our enter data query. So it's really nice that it does that. All right, so a couple other things here. So if I just create an enter data query and I just hit OK, right? So what this does is you can see we get about the shortest string possible. We get an I44F capital A equals. But so what is it really encoding, right? Well, we would think that maybe it would be something like this. If I were to take bracket, square bracket, square bracket, end square bracket, end square bracket. But as you can see, when I do my reverse engineering of that, I don't get back the same value as that. I get back something different than under lowercase I44F capital A equal, right? Obviously, this is different. So if I actually take a look at that of this, I paste this in and then reverse engineer it. Essentially, you can see that actually when you do a blank enter data query, you just get a square bracket and then an end square bracket. So if we were to take this one, and we were to wipe this out, wipe that out, and hit enter, there we are. I44 capital F capital A equals. So now I did a bunch of experimentation, like, okay, what if we just did this? Do we get back like a capital A equals? Oh, and I wiped everything out, so that was great. But no, we get back IWUA. If I do this, does it come back with anything coherent? No, IWYA. So I mean, so it changes based upon when you're converting all this to binary and stuff like that, and then compressing it and stuff. It does, you can't. It's hard to predict what it's going to return, because you would think that maybe I would get back IWYA and then the other code, but I don't. I get back something completely different. So that is really all I had for this video. I just wanted to kind of dig on it. I started questioning, like, okay, why do we have, how do they get that where's that string come from when you do an enter data query? Well, there's where it comes from. It comes from doing a text.to binary, then a binary.compress, and then a binary.toText. And that gives you that string that shows up magically with enter data queries. That's what's really happening under the hood. So again, thank you all for subscribing. I really appreciate everyone. Really appreciate Chandeep and his interview. Really has kind of put my channel into motion. So I really appreciate it. And that's all for now. And I'll see you next time.